Hey guys, I have another 1250 point game with my High Elves versus a Bretonnian army. And this is actually one of my subscribers, which was a real treat. So as always, I've got the Lore Master of Hoeth with the Book of Hoeth, and he's got a level 2 damsel with Lore of Beasts, and she had Wiston's Wild Form and the Curse of Anra here, and she also had the Silver Mirror as a magic item. So here's the deployment. So on my opponent's far left, in the corner there, he's got a trebuchet, and in front he's got a group of mounted yeomen. Then in the center he has a unit of 9 knights errant, and there's 3 characters in there. So he's got his level 2, then he's got a BSB with a 1-up rerollable armor save, and the Sword of Initiative 10. And then he's got a heroic killing blow lord with the Heartwood lance, and the armor gives him weapon skill 10. Next to them he's got a unit of 10 archers with defensive stakes, and on the right he's got a unit of 9 knights errant with full command, and in the other corner he's got another trebuchet. So I am slightly worried about these trebuchets going into it, because they can absolutely wreck anything in my army. I mean, they'll eat through my silver helms. They can one-shot my griffin, and I mean, White Lion's got a better save, but on small bases he can kill, I think, 12 of them with one shot. So on my left, behind the building, I've got an eagle, and I mean, his job is obviously going to go after get that trebuchet as quickly as possible. Then I've got my lance of silver helms. So it'll be interesting to see what my lance can do against his lances. And then I've got my Griffin BSB in the middle. So he's got a lance, an enchanted shield, and the Dawnstone. So he's got a 2-up rerollable. Then my 20 White Lions with the +1 movement banner and musician, and in there I've got the Lore Master of Hoeth with the Golden Crown and the Book of Hoeth. And then on the right, I've got my 5 fast cav, and they're going to vanguard up as quickly as possible and try to take out that trebuchet turn 2. So I vanguard up to the middle line, which is pretty good because it should put me, when I get first turn, I should be able to get past the line of sight of those men-at-arms, which is nice. Well, not the knights errant, sorry. And so I get first turn. He also vanguarded up his fast cav as well. So I moved the eagle up a bit. I wanted to fly them over the fast cav, but they're just too far out, so I put them there, because the way the building is positioned, he won't be able to close the door to me, or I won't be able to close the door to him, so it's an impossible charge. So I don't have to worry about his fast cav taking my eagle out. I move up the knights to block off one side of the hill and just really guard that pass against any potential flank charges. So then I move the White Lions as quickly as possible up to the hill, and they're in a good position now because they can't be seen by the trebuchet on the left, and it's the same with the Griffin. So the Griffin is hidden by those 2 pillars on the middle of the hill, so only one trebuchet can see those 2 units. And then, like I said earlier, my fast cav just make a beeline to his trebuchet. They stay an inch away, and they're going to charge him turn 2. So he's only got one shot with that one, so that really helps me out. So in the magic phase, I cast Spirit Leech on his level 2, and I do 1 wound to her. And yeah, sorry for the blurry picture. So Bretonnian turn 1, he moves his fast cav back, and I think it's more to, I think he was worried about a charge from my silver helms more than anything. He moves his big character bus around one flank and is relatively tentative with the knights errant, because I think he's worried about my griffin. So in the magic phase, he gets off Wiston's Wild Form on the knights errant. So High Elf turn 2. I fly my eagle over his fast cav, and he's within 12 inches of the trebuchet, so he won't be able to shoot at me. So he's got a pretty easy charge on turn 3, which is nice. I back my silver helms up because obviously I want nothing to do with the character bus. My plan here, if I can avoid the character bus for as long as possible, that's great by me. I move the white lions onto the hill. Now, from this position, they can charge the side of the character bus if I really feel like it, but I'm more tempting the knights errant to charge me, or hoping that they feel their leadership 7 and charge into me, because I mean he's got to charge uphill and take dangerous terrain, and I've probably got 15 attacks hitting him first. If I get any type of magic off, that's even better for me. And fly the Griffin over to threaten the flank of those knights errants and really limit their options. And then I charge the fast cav into his trebuchet up top. So then in the magic phase, I get Ice Shard Blizzard off on the use unit, so now they're leadership 6. And then I also reduce their weapon skill by D3, and I get a 3. So they're now weapon skill 1 and leadership 6. I'm really hoping that they fail their impetuous test and charge me, because they're going to be hitting me on 6s, but I also think there's not going to be many of them left by the time they strike. So I'm really liking this position. And then I get off Earthblood on my unit just in case, and I have extra dice off, so even if anything goes through, still got a 5-up regen. So as expected, the fast cav make short work of the trebuchet. I actually lose one going in, and I reform them to threaten the flank of those archers. So Bretonnian turn 2. So I think he played this pretty well. He moved his fast cav an inch in front of his trebuchet. So I have to get through that unit before I can get to his trebuchet. And I don't know if an eagle can. So I thought that was a good move on his part. He turns his lance around to face the center of the board, and I think he's going to go after my white lions. And his knights pass their leadership 6 impetuous test, so they don't have to charge me. And what he does is he just marches them up as far as possible to threaten the flank of my knights. But luckily, I'm within line of sight with my white lions, so I can get an easy flank charge into that unit. And my Griffin can't see anything either, so he's going to have to do something else next turn. So in the magic phase, I have to choose between him getting off Wissen's Wild Form and Curse of Andrew here, and I stop Wild Form and I let Curse go through. This might have been a bad decision. I think maybe Wild Form would have been, I should have probably let that one through. And in his shooting phase, the one trebuchet that's still on the board misfires and can't shoot this turn. So I thought that was pretty lucky. I haven't taken a single hit from these trebuchets yet, so I'm really dodging bullets there. So High Elf turn 3. So I decided to go for it, and I know the white lions are going to have to take dangerous terrain tests on 1s and 2s, but if I don't fight those knights errant now, he's going to get an easy charge into my silver helms, and I don't think I'll win that. So I have to charge him in to save my other unit, and I get so lucky on my rolls. I was rolling 3-ups like I was a Space Marine. I mean, I lost one guy, and it helps that I get a 5-up regen, but I don't think I even needed it. I just rolled super, super well. So on the top left, my Eagle also charges the fast cav. I figure, that's 50-50. I get 2 attacks and a charge. He's got 8 attacks on me, but I'm hitting on 3s, killing on 3s. He's only hitting on 4s and killing on 5s. So I like my odds there. But I mean, I have no other choice. I gotta get to that trebuchet. My fast cav dance around his archers, who reformed on the previous turn to shoot at me, but didn't do anything. And my Griffin flies over to threaten the flank of his character bus if they decide to do anything, or if they decide to move forward, or even if they stay still. So just really trying to manipulate board position with him. So in the magic phase, I get a preemptive Ice Shard Blizzard off on the big Night Bus. This is because I figure they might charge me next turn, so whatever. So maybe it'll help. And in the combat phase, I do 1 wound to him, he does 1 wound to me, and we stick. And in this combat phase, I end up taking out 5 knights, and I lose 1 guy in return. And I choose to pursue him. Excuse me. Choose to pursue, but I don't catch him, but I'm only an inch behind him. And I get super lucky with my dangerous terrain tests again. I think I end up losing like another 3 guys. I was rolling like a champ. So Bretonnian turn 3. So he moves his big Night Bus in the center to claim the objective, and I guess he's got options on his turn 4 now. He can either go into the White Lions or the Silver Helms. And he moves his Lord, his Heroic Killing Blow Lord, out of the unit to stare down my Eagle. And if my Eagle charges the rear of that Night Bus, he should be, if he's steadfast, he should be able to countercharge. So we're playing a little bit of chess here. And he reforms his archers up top again to shoot at my fast cav. In the magic phase, I gotta choose between Curse and Wissen's Wild Form on his big bus, and I let Curse go through because I figure, okay, after the White Lions kill these guys, it's gonna be turn 4, and they're gonna have maybe 2 turns left. They're not gonna really be able to do much else in the game, so I might as well. But it doesn't matter if I lose another 5, 6, even 10 guys. I think they're pretty much out of the game after I kill these 3 remaining Knights Errant. And in the shooting phase, he takes out 1 of my fast cav, and this gives you a better idea of where his Lord is positioned relative to my Griffin. In the combat phase, my Eagle goes first and fails to wound. I spoon my attacks, and he does 2 wounds to me, and the Eagle dies. Figured it was 50-50. I had to try to do something about that trebuchet, otherwise he's just going to keep throwing stones at me. And it just didn't work out. And High Elf turn 4. I charge the 3 remaining knights, and I mean, law of averages catches up to me. Out of, I think I've got 9 guys left in the unit, and I lose 8 guys, so I lose half the unit. But I mean, this was bound to happen. I got so lucky on the other 2, so you can't complain. Oh, that's just another picture of that. So here I had to make a big decision. So I had 2 choices. 1, charge everything in, like I obviously did. The other was to keep dancing around him and let him maybe charge into my White Lions, hope that he fails a bunch of dangerous terrain tests in the forest, and that if I win somehow, he won't be steadfast, or so maybe break him that way. Or if I stick, which I probably should because I'm leadership 8 stubborn, he won't be able to kill all of me, and then countercharge after that happens. But I decided not to do that, and that might have been a mistake because I did the math on it at the time. I had to kill 5 of these knights to get my Griffin out of line of sight of his Heroic Killing Blow Lord, which at the time seemed very doable. But I think if you do the math on it, that's not very likely. So this may have been a big mistake on my part. So I charged these knights in. I charged the fast cav into the archers, and I do 3 wounds to him. He does 2 wounds to me, but I think it ends up being a push, so they stay. In this combat, I got a bit unlucky here and only killed 1 knight, and he ends up staying as well. And I reform into a 3x3 cube to maximize attacks for the next round of combat, just so I guarantee I get these guys out of out of the game. And here I completely spoon it. So I didn't get a magic phase. I think I tried to cast one spell. I think I tried to cast Ice Shard Blizzard with 2 dice, and I failed it even with the reroll, so that ended my magic phase prematurely. I think my opponent did something very smart here. So my Griffin goes into the rear, and he challenges with his champion, and I have to accept because I have nowhere else to go. So this means that it's going to be even harder for me to kill all 5 of those knights that I needed to kill. And what makes it worse is that my Griffin cannot do anything against his champion. So I have 3 attacks from the Rioter and 4 attacks from the Griffin. I fail to do any wounds. And then my knight unit does 2 wounds to his knights, and he does nothing to me. But the Griffin not doing anything turns out to be a blessing in disguise, because now I'm locked into a challenge with this champion, and his heroic Killing Blow Lord, who can easily charge my Griffin, can't attack anyone, because I'm locked in combat with this champion. So I'm avoiding his heroic Killing Blow Lord because I rolled so poorly. So that ends up being really, really nice for me. Unexpected, but I'll take it. So, as you would expect, Bretonnians turn 4, he charges his heroic Killing Blow Lord into my Griffin. So he can't attack me this turn because I'm locked in the challenge, but it's 2 combat res, which may or may not make the difference. And he moves his fast cav up just to threaten the rear of the Griffin next turn. So I stopped his magic phase, so nothing happened there. My 1 remaining fast cav, the musician, breaks the rest of those peasants, and I thought that was pretty cool. So this fast cav has gotten me a unit of archers and a trebuchet, so they're doing pretty well this game. In the combat phase, I do 1 wound to him, and he does 1 wound to me. But he ends up breaking and runs off the board, and I reform like that. And in retrospect, that ends up being a big mistake, because I forgot about his trebuchet, and what I've done now is I have a formation where if he lands a rock directly on me, I lose. I get hit. Everyone gets hit. What I should have done is just put him in a single file conga line, so the worst he can do is hit 3 or 4 guys, or maybe it's 5 guys, but not 9. And in the combat, would you believe it? My Griffin and his champion fight again, and I fail to do any damage. I'm loving it now, because this is going to turn into a huge grind fest. I've lost my strength 5 attacks, so now we're both strength 3 knights fighting other toughness 3 guys, and we each have 2 up armor saves, and he actually has a ward save on top of that. So this is just going to be a slugfest that goes nowhere. So I get another turn of his heroic Killing Blow Lord not heroic Killing Blowing me. So High Elf turn 5. On the top, my Reaver comes back onto the board, and I walk him up as quickly as possible to that trebuchet. And I move my White Lions up so that they're closer to the combat in case I need a turn 6 charge to support that combat. And again, big mistake, should have reformed out of the cube formation, and yeah, silly me. In the magic phase, I fireball off the rest of the fast cav just to prevent him from getting a rear charge on me next turn. And I get Wiston's Wild Form off on my unit, so now I'm Strength Toughness 4, which helps. And I get Ice Shard Blizzard off on him. So he's only hitting me on 5s, so that should help as well. We should keep my guys alive at least. The issue that I have now is killing his guys. So my Griffin finally kills the champion, and I almost didn't want this to happen because now I know I've lost my Griffin. And the rest of my knights do nothing, and he does a wound to me, and it's a push. So we're stuck in combat still. And yeah, so my mistake catches up to me. He lands a stone directly on my White Lions, and I get I thought lucky. He only ended up killing 4 after hitting 8. I might make a couple of 5-up saves, and my mage passed his lookout, sir. So I thought that was pretty lucky, and I got away with one here. So in the combat, so he doesn't get anything off in the magic phase, and so my BSB is now stuck in a challenge with his Heroic King Blowlord, and he one-shots the Griffin, which was unfortunate, but it's to be expected. I mean, that's what that guy's built for, but my BSB is still alive. And I actually do a couple of more wounds to his knights, and this combat just keeps being a push. But what I'm really worried about is my BSB's fate. I don't think he's long for this war. So High Elf turn 6, I get the easy charge into the flank of the War Machine, and I'm really loving this Reaver. I mean, he's got 4 wounds and I've only got 1, but maybe, just maybe, I can take it out. And I learned my lesson and I reform my White Lions just in case, because, you know, I probably won't take out that Trebuchet, so he can't do much to me if he does land a rock on me. And then in the magic phase, I throw 3 dice at Wisdom's Wild Form and get 3 6s, and I get the small detonation, and I got pretty lucky again. My mage uses his crown to avoid the wound, but one of the White Lions is still alive, so that's preserving me those points for the unit. Yep. So here in combat, I do no wounds to him, and he does no wounds to me. I have a charge, and he breaks. So Reavers are awesome this game, and they did well for me last game as well. I thought that, you know, these guys are a throw-in, but they're doing well for me. They're getting their points back. And in the combat, as expected, in the magic phase, I get Whistons off, but it doesn't help. I kill maybe one more guy, and I lose my BSB in the challenge. Another Heroic King blow. I've got Dragon Armor, but I don't make my 6-up ward save, so yeah, it's to be expected. And he kills one of mine, and it's a push and we stick. So I don't know what this is a picture of. Oh, after combat, yeah, we stick. Then in his magic phase, so it's not a lot. He forgets to charge his Lord into my knight unit. But it was after we had already done the magic phase, and we thought it was fair that since the magic phase had already been played, that he wouldn't be able to take it back. So yeah, in the magic phase he gets Curse off on me because I have to choose between Wisdom's Wild Form and Curse again, so I let Curse go through. So in combat, I get 2 more wounds through on his knights, so I've taken that unit out. And he does no wounds to me, and he ends up staying on his, I think it was Leadership 7 Rerollable or something like that. And this is actually the last picture of the game. We thought it was turn 5, but so we ended up playing another 2 turns, or we ended up playing another 2 rounds of this combat. So what ended up happening is I ended up killing his mage, and he charged his lord into my unit and killed another 2 or 3 knights, and we ended up sticking through turn 7. So at the end of turn 7, this combat was still going. So it was started at the start of turn 4, and it goes through turn 7. So that's actually 8 rounds of combat. So I've never seen anything like that. I have not had this happen in my Warhammer experience, where a combat lasts 8 rounds, and it's a complete grind fest. So the game was a very close fought game. So we actually played the special scenario where you get to capture the objective. If you had a unit within 6 inches of the objective, you won as long as your opponent didn't have it. But so we both had a unit on the objective at the end of the game. So yeah, very, very close fought game. It was a great game against a really, really well painted Bretonnian army. I don't know if my pictures did it justice. Having a combat last for 6 rounds, I thought was pretty cool. I mean, we actually went to 8 rounds, but looking back on it, the game ended. And I think the MVPs in this game were my fast cav. I mean, they really performed well. I've really been underestimating their ability to vanguard, but now with the vanguard, they can get up to the halfway line pretty quickly. And if I don't get turn one, they can charge something turn one. So they're amazing War Machine hunters, and if I get turn one, they'll charge something turn two. So I thought that worked really, really well for me. So I'm really liking the mobile list. So I hope you guys enjoyed it.